The name of our chapter is Human Environment, Settlement, Transport and Communication. So, in this video, we are going to cover the following topics. First, about the introduction to settlement. Second, the types of settlement. Third, transportation. Fourth, the roadways. Fifth, railways. Sixth, waterways. Seventh, airways. So, all these are the means of transportation. And the last thing that we are going to cover is about communication. The first thing that we are going to discuss is about the introduction to settlement. What do we mean by settlement? Settlements are places where people build their homes. Early human beings lived on the trees and in the caves. Settlement therefore flourished and civilizations developed near river valleys. For example, the civilization that grew along the banks of the river Indus, Tigris, Nile, and Huang He. When they started to grow crops, it became necessary to have a permanent home. The settlements grew near the river valleys as water was available and the land was also fertile. With the development of trade, commerce, and the manufacturing, human settlements became larger and larger. The natural conditions for selection of an ideal settlement site are there are four conditions. First, a favorable climate. Second, the availability of water. Third, the suitable land. And fourth, the fertile soil. Now, let us discuss about the different types of settlement. So, settlements can be both permanent or temporary. Settlements which are occupied for a short time period are called the temporary settlements. The people living in the deep forests, hot and cold deserts, and the mountains often dwell in such temporary settlements. They practice hunting, gathering, shifting cultivation, and transhumance. What is transhumance? Well, transhumance is a seasonal movement of people. People who rear animals move in search of new pastures according to the changes in the seasons. However, more and more settlements today are the permanent settlements. In these settlements, people build homes to live in. On the basis of area, the settlement can be categorized into two: the rural settlement and the urban settlements. The villages are the rural settlement where people are engaged in activities like agriculture, fishing, forestry, crafts work, trading, etc. The rural settlements can be compact or scattered. A compact settlement is a closely built area of dwellings wherever flat land is available. Whereas in scattered settlement, dwellings are spaced over an extensive area. This type of settlement is mostly found in the hilly tracts, thick forests, and the regions of extreme climate. In rural areas, people build houses to suit their environment. In regions of heavy rainfall, they have slanting roofs. Places where water accumulates in the rainy season, the houses are constructed on a raised platform or stilts. Thick mud-walled houses with thatched roofs are very common in areas of hot climate. Local materials like stones, mud, clay, straw, etc. are being used to construct the houses. Whereas the towns are small and the cities are larger urban settlements. In urban areas, the people are engaged in activities like manufacturing, trading, and services. The next thing that we are going to discuss is about the transport. Transport is the means by which people and goods move. In the early days, it took a great deal of time to travel long distances. People had to walk and used animals to carry their goods. Invention of the wheel made the transportation easier. With the passage of time, different means of transport developed, but even today, people use animals for transport. In our country, donkeys, mules, bullocks, and camels are common for transportation. In the Andes Mountains of South America, llamas are used, as are yaks in Tibet. The early traders from other countries used to take several months to reach India. They took either the sea route or the land route. However, the aeroplanes have made travel faster. Now it takes only 6 to 8 hours to travel from India to Europe. Thus, the modern means of transportation has thus saved time as well as energy. So, there are four major means of transportation: A. Roadways, B. Railways, C. Waterways, D. Airways. Let us discuss each of these now. First, let us talk about the roadways. The most commonly used means of transport easily for short distances are the roads. They can be metalled, that is pakka, and unmetalled, that is kacha road. The plains have a dense network of roads. Roads have also been built in terrains like deserts, forests, and even high mountains. The Manali Leh highway in the Himalayan mountains is one of the highest roadways in the world. Roads are also built underground and are called subways or underpaths. Flyovers are built over raised structures. There are several national and state highways in India. The latest development in India is the construction of the expressways. The Golden Quadrilateral connects Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, and Kolkata. So, this was the important facts about the roadways. Now, let us move on to talk about the second type, that is the railways. The railways carry heavy goods and people over long distances quickly and cheaply. The invention of the steam engine and the Industrial Revolution has helped in the speedy development of the rail transport. Diesel and electric engines have largely replaced steam engines. In places, super-fast trains have been introduced to make the journey faster. The railway network is well developed over the plain areas, and advanced technological skills have enabled laying of the railway lines in difficult mountain terrains also. But these are much fewer in number. The Indian railway network is well developed and it is the largest in Asia. The train from Zing to Lhasa runs at an altitude of 4,000 meter above the sea level, and the highest point is 5,072 meter. The Trans-Siberian Railway is the longest railway system connecting St. Petersburg in western Russia to Vladivostok on the Pacific coast. Now, after discussing about the roadways and the railways, let us move on to talk about waterways. Waterways are the cheapest for carrying heavy and bulky goods over long distances. They are mainly of two types: inland waterways and sea routes. Navigable rivers and lakes are used as inland waterways. Some of the important inland waterways are the Ganga-Brahmaputra river system, the Great Lakes in North America, and the River Nile in Africa. Sea routes and the oceanic routes are mostly used for transporting merchandise and goods from one country to another. These routes are connected with the ports. Some of the important ports of the world are Singapore and Mumbai in Asia, New York, Los Angeles in North America, Rio de Janeiro in South America, Durban and Cape Town in Africa, Sydney in Australia, and London and Rotterdam in Europe. So this was about the waterways. Now let us move on to discuss about the fourth type of transportation, that is the airways. Airways is the fastest way of transport developed in the early 20th century. It is also the most expensive due to the high cost of fuels. Air traffic is adversely affected by bad weather like fog and storms. It is the only mode of transport to reach the most remote and distant areas, especially where there are no roads and no railways. Helicopters are extremely useful in most inaccessible areas and also in times of calamities for rescuing the people and for distribution of food, water, clothes, and medicines. Some of the important airports are Delhi, Mumbai, New York, London, Paris, Frankfurt, and Cairo. So, this was about the transportation. Now, let us move on to talk about the communication. What do we mean by communication? Communication is the process of conveying messages to others. With the development of technology, humans have devised new and fast modes of communication. The advancement in the field of communication has brought about an information revolution in the world. Different modes of communication are used to provide information, to educate as well as to entertain. Through newspapers, radio, and television, we can communicate with a large number of people. They are therefore called the mass media. The satellites have made communication even faster. Satellites have helped in oil exploration, survey of forest, underground water, mineral wealth, weather forecast, and disaster warning. Now we can send electronic mails or emails through internet. Wireless telephonic communications through cellular phones have become very popular today. Internet not only provides us with a worldwide information and interaction, but it has also made our lives much more comfortable. With this kind of interconnectivity of people, services, and institutions across the world, we are a large global society.